What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Escape the Matrix podcast. I, here, your host, Albert Powell. Some call me OP. And obviously, as you can see, we have a special guest here with us as well. My guy, Faron J. Davis in the building. My brother, how you doing?
Man, OP, man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. What's up, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So a little bit of background between me and Faron, and I'm gonna let him, say his own piece and say his spiel as well, introduce himself. But Faron, I got introduced to Faron, let's see, almost 3 years ago, about 2, 3 years ago. We actually started. It's crazy how time flies, and so we actually started working in the same office, doing the same thing. We were kind of both accomplishing the same goal in terms of opening up our own business, our insurance business. But just with working with him, I've learned that this brother got a lot of juice. He knows a lot of stuff in terms of financial concepts, and one of the biggest things that he's helped me get more acclimated to is credit, personal credit, business credit, and that's the reason why we have him on here today. So I'm almost certain this won't be his last time on here, but I want to bring him on here for the first time to give kind of help teach us a thing or two about some credit, personal credit and business credit. So my guy, I'm excited to have you on here, and I appreciate you for joining me today, man.
All right, OP. So, look, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I can't thank you enough on how much this means in this opportunity to talk to the people, talk about
Hmm.
business credit, personal credit, whatever it is. I'm just happy to be here. You know, can't say much more than that. Uh,
Hmm.
Introduce myself, though, to the rest of the people. I am Faron J. Davis, right? But I
Hmm.
go by Faron J for short. From Pine Bluff, Arkansas. It's a very small town, right? And came from humble beginnings, hunting and fishing and stuff like that.
Hmm.
People may refer to it as the bluff, people may refer to it as the town, but it's home for me. Uh,
Hmm.
Definitely got to shout out Jackson State, the Jackson State University.
Shout out.
College there. Man, shout out the whole city of Jackson,
Hmm.
the Sonic Boom, WT, DMJ, J5, and all of my family out there, man. Just can't thank y'all enough. A little bit about myself. I'm a father first. It's
Hmm.
probably one of the most important things that I've ever had to do in my life, and that's lead my son be a father. So that's important to me.
Hmm.
Aside from that, I'm a risk management professional. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a hustler. I'm super ambitious, and I'm the plug on these finances, man. So, OP, let's get to it, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we'll go ahead and hop straight into it. So you and I, we both know that obviously credit is a very important thing. And we know just historically, especially just in the black and brown community, it's kind of been this taboo thing. Some don't feel too comfortable about it, don't really understand it. But we understand that it's very important to have and to utilize to your advantage, right? And that's what obviously what we're going to be here to talk about today. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, why should people look to use their credit cards more as opposed to just using a debit card by itself?
All right, so that's a great question, OP. Uh, you got to look at things as when you use your debit card, let's look at it from a liability standpoint.
Hmm.
If there's a fraudulent transaction and you swipe a debit card, it don't really matter if it's fraudulent or not. The transaction going through, you're going to go through hell and hot water trying to fight to get that off. But if you swipe your credit card, you have limited liability there, meaning you could get that fraudulent transaction taken care of. And that's
Hmm.
just from that standpoint. But moving forward, you could also, when you're using credit cards, you have these things called kickbacks, like points,
Hmm.
1% off, 2% off, 3% off, 1.5% back cash back. You get that when you swipe a credit card, right? And
Hmm.
you got to be responsible, of course. Pay it back with the debit card. Whatever's in your account, go back and pay it back. But you you must use credit cards. It's going to build your credit, right? It's just going to put you in a different position to win opposed to just using debit cards. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And I understand you also alluded to it as well in terms of like the kickbacks, you're going to get cash back, you're going to get points. And for a lot of people, that allows them to have more fun with their money, right? So they can, fly for free or for a significant discount, for example, or go to concerts and get free food. And the incentives are endless ultimately with credit card options, but it all boils down to obviously using them. You don't really get those same perks or benefits when you're just using a debit card. So you're spot on. You're spot on. So let me ask you this: in terms of a credit score, I guess because I kind of want to spoon feed the people, right? I don't want to just hop straight into a high level conversation. We kind of have to start from the foundational stuff, right? So what is a credit score? I guess why is it important? If you can talk to that a little bit more, then that would be great.
All right. So your credit score, I think it ranges from 300 all the way up to eight. What is it? Eight.
Maybe 850, I think.
Okay, 850 something
Somewhere
like
around there. Yeah,
that. Your credit score is highly important. Is more important than having cash.
yeah.
Uh, and a couple of things about credit, I think it's broken down to like 5 specific categories. But I'll just talk about the main things because we got to keep the main thing, right?
That's right.
Um, the most important part is utilization, 35% of your credit. That's a lot. That's heavy weighted as far as your credit score. And on-time payments is 30% too. You got 65% there of just making on-time payments and then utilizing your credit. So the credit score is based off of a credit mix too, and maybe a few more things like new credit, stuff like that. And but in a sense, OP, this credit thing, it's probably one of the most important factors in life to have. Like it's the most important thing I could even talk to anybody about. A youthful person, a more seasoned person. This credit thing is it.
Yeah, and spot on. And it's just like I said, really, the more I had conversations with you, the more I opened my eyes. I'm like, okay, I knew it was important, but it wasn't quite there, basically. And I'm just like, okay, let me go ahead and apply for some more cars. Let me start building up my credit, and things have just took off since then. So it's been great, and I would definitely contribute you and your assistance in my own success. So I appreciate you for that, man. So I want to go ahead and give you your flowers now. So next question I want to ask you is, how should people handle their credit card debt and ultimately avoiding, defaulting on payments? How should people go about that?
First and foremost, being responsible. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just live within our means. That's very easy. And it's probably easier said than done
Of
because you
course.
got this huge limit out here, whatever that limit may be. And you're like, well, I'm gonna just swipe, 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 swipe. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like if you if your expenses, let's make an example, if your expenses are $1,000 a month
Mm-hmm.
and you spend $1,000 on your credit card, just pay that back off every month and you'll be fine. The
Mm-hmm.
issue is when you say how should people handle it, they don't pay that $1,000 back. They spend that $1,000 and then they go spend. They never pay it back, and then they go spend $1,000 elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then now they're faced with this huge credit card bill. And I've been there before. I
Mm-hmm.
understand. I had to learn from my own mistakes. I had to
Mm-hmm.
learn to live within my means because, like I said, it can get ugly quick.
Yeah. Yeah, and it can. And so it's something that you mentioned here earlier was talking about like utilization, like how much you actually use your credit card and using your limit plays a big factor into your score. It's going to
Mhm.
show for other banks just how credit worthy you are at the end of the day, right? So you said that what you said 35%? Is that the kind of like the sweet spot for the utilization? You don't want to really surpass that number, right?
So that's not when I said 35%, that's of your credit score. So your
Gotcha.
credit score, 35% of that score is made up of your utilization.
Utilization.
But since we're talking utilization,
Hmm.
for the best possible gains, your utilization should be below 10%. For an
Mm.
example, for those out there, let's say your credit card limit is $1,000.
Hmm.
And typically when you get a credit card, they're going to send you a statement in the mail. So you have to pay it by a certain date or whatnot.
Right.
You need to pay it early. You need to pay it before the statement date. The statement date is the date that they send to all 3 credit bureaus. If you're lucky, most people send them to 2. But if they send them to the credit bureaus, they're going to send that, and that's the bill that they send. So you want that bill right there under 10%. So meaning pay your bills back down under $100 or zero. Doesn't matter. But
Gotcha.
you want that utilization low because it's showing them that, hey, we gave you $1,000, but you only used 100.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could have used the whole entire thing. But when the statement comes out, it needs to reflect under 10%. But I mean, I've seen people out there say sweet spots are 20%. You don't want to get over 30%. I'm telling you from experience, keep it under 10. Keep it.
Ideally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. So the best way to go about it for someone, let's just say someone's kind of like a novice, not really big on credit, or they're just new to the whole entire concept of credit. Let's just say you have a college student just graduating, right? And they're just embarking into the real world, right? At this point in their lives. Let's say they get a limit, $1,000, right? And it'll be best to utilize it, let's just say 10%. So you have 30 days, roughly, somewhere around there, to pay that $100 off. It's just best to use $100, let's just say day one, a couple days later, or if you can next day, just go ahead and pay it off, pay it back, and do that a couple months, and you can anticipate your credit score to be much higher within the next few months, right? Is that pretty much the concept there?
Because credit utilization affects your credit score 12 times a year. That means each month it could be a different score. So since we know it's coming 12 times a year, take advantage. Make sure that your utilization is low. And OP, I'm gonna say it again, is because this is so key, bro.
Mm-hmm.
People should pay it down before the statement date. That statement date is what's being sent to the credit bureau. So if they don't pay it before that date, I don't care what, they could have spent the whole $1,000, OP.
Mm-hmm.
If they fork over 900 before the statement come out, it's going to say they only spent $100. They look so responsible to the companies, the banks up here, because they gave you 1,000, you only used 100 to them. You see what I'm saying? So you use that to leverage your score so you can get higher limits, so you can get more cards, more credit.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Got it. So something that you also mentioned was the biggest thing about credit is, I guess, the reason why so many people feel it's like a taboo topic, because obviously there's risk that comes with it, right? If you're not responsible. You mentioned people being responsible. That's the most important thing when we're talking about credit, of course, because it can get out of hand pretty fast. But let's just say if you're that person that's made mistakes, kind of fell off the tracks a little bit with your credit journey, and your credit, you're working on, rebuilding it, right? I guess, what are your thoughts on using a credit repair agency? Have you used one? What has your experience been like? If you want to talk about that, that'd be awesome.
All right. So definitely used credit repair before.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the good, the bad, the ugly.
Okay.
I've had some great experiences with certain people. Some people have high integrity,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been screwed. To be honest, to say the least, I've been screwed. But you live and you learn. You just have to do a little bit more research into the credit repair.
Mm-hmm.
It does work. I can attest to that. It does work.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get it to where you get it, be responsible. Like, learn from your mistake. Because if you're going through credit repair, obviously you made a mistake here and there, and nobody's perfect. But once you come out of it, learn from your mistakes, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Pay stuff on time. That's the hardest thing to get off your credit, is to not pay something on time.
Mm-hmm.
A missed payment, a late payment. Oh my God. You could have defaulted on something and get that off, but you cannot get off a late payment because it's still there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just one late payment to drop your score like almost 50 points.
Golly. So, because I know for like using a credit agency, for example, at least I heard from others, everybody's experience is different, right? Just like how you said, you've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and there's some, kind of shady folks out there. I guess, is there a certain agency that you would maybe recommend, or what are some of the things that you would look for in a credit repair agency, considering that you've kind of experienced, you had your run-ins with a few? What are some things you would tell that next person that's considering it? Like, hey, look out for these things, and you can probably feel more comfortable with making that decision with that agency.
Yeah, so I would send them to my guy Jerome at Capital Funding.
Mm-hmm.
I send everybody to him. Everybody I know, I like a lot of people I know, I send them directly to him. I send them to him for this reason. He's really good at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He has high integrity, and I can trust him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what he has going on there. His whole ultimate goal is to get you business funding. So he don't really care about the personal credit. He just cleans it up to make sure it's straight.
Mm-hmm.
So since that's his ultimate goal, that's his bread and butter,
Mm-hmm.
then he's completely making sure this is good, so he can take you over here for funding, and everything is, all your ducks in a row.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. So perfect. So I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. I'm gonna have his information here in the description as well. And we're gonna reach out to Jerome, see if we can.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
okay, cool. That's perfect. Perfect. Not a problem. Because I know some people that could use his services. That's for sure. Um, so obviously credit is a big thing. And here on this podcast, we talk a lot about finances and money and building generational wealth and all these skills and things of that nature. It's important. But for our parents that are tuning in, how can they help their child with credit? Right? Like for example, like using an authorized user. I know something that's been used for me. It's helped me. But what are some other ways, or if you can talk a little bit more about what an authorized user is and how that works to help our parents out there for their kids?
yeah. So parents should definitely not choose the avoidance way to
Hmm.
approach credit, but educational purposes.
Hmm.
Do it this way because I don't feel a child should avoid getting credit because they're afraid of what could happen. I feel the other way, that parents should come with them with the education and say, hey, look, this is how you do this. If you do it this way, things could go south quick. But do it
Right.
this way, let's be responsible. Let's teach responsibility up front for the youth, right?
Hmm.
But there's a couple of gimmicks out here that work really well, like AMEX.
Amen.
AMEX will allow you to add a child to your credit card at the age as early as 14. So imagine a 14-year-old being added as an AU, authorized user, which I'll get to in a minute.
Hmm.
And however long that person has had that credit line, that person establishes that much credit line right away at the age of 14.
Mm.
Absolutely crazy. Now that's AMEX, but
Hmm.
there's other credit cards out there that you can probably get in at 18 with the AU or authorized user. And what
Hmm.
is that? Right? That's your initial question. What is it?
Right.
Authorized user is basically giving a person, it could be a child, it could be a spouse, significant other, family member, friend, whoever, giving them your trade line on their credit report. They basically have the authorization to speak on the account, but they can't control it.
Hmm.
So you're basically helping someone build credit by providing them with a credit or trade line that they've already had. And typically when someone adds you as an AU, if it's that type of a card, it's really not spent as much, or if it's spent, is very little. It's just a trade line out there nobody's even using.
Right.
That
Right.
you what you need with an AU is a lot of utilization, and then
Hmm.
you need tenure. That really controls your credit score, is how long you've been with something. It's on time, overtime is a concept with credit. Like it ain't nothing you can just wake up overnight and have. So
Right.
time payments and over a length of time is going to get you the highest scores. And also, I want to add something else to that, OP.
Yeah.
I got a friend named Shelvis Jones. Shout out Shelvis, real good dude. Live out in Jackson, Mississippi, but
Hmm.
told me that his mother co-signed for a vehicle for him, his first vehicle when he was really young, paid it on time, showed him all that stuff, was responsible with it. And after that, had like an 800 credit score. Like you gotta understand, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't beat that, right?
Right. That's hard to be. That's hard to be.
Instead
Yeah.
of somebody co-signing for you,
Hmm.
they co-sign, they put you first, and then they co-sign behind you, and then
Hmm.
they allowed you to get that trade line
Trade
on
line.
time payments for the length of time. And now look at you, you got good credit.
Yeah, man. I like what you said, that being on time, overtime.
Yes.
Obviously, in terms of building credit, it's not an overnight thing, right? It takes some time. 6 months, a year, and for some people, in some cases, maybe longer than a year, right? But having an authorized user or having someone, use you as an authorized user can definitely help. I guess a little bit of a disclaimer with that as well. I do want to add for people that are considering having someone else as an authorized user. For example, let's just say I want to have a friend, Joe Schmo, as an authorized user. You just want to be mindful of who Joe Schmo, your friend, who that other person is, because if you can talk about it a little bit as well, just how it can help that other, my friend in this example. But if my friend is running up the card and not is like overusing the card, and then let's just say I can't pay it, then that hurts both of us, right?
Got it. So let me speak to this.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be an authorized user on someone's account,
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, they have to be responsible. Like it has to be a meeting of the minds, an
Mm-hmm.
agreement. Like you're not gonna go blow this credit card and max it out. Like,
Of course.
please have high integrity for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't giving no AU no card.
Mm-hmm.
You just getting the benefit that I'm setting up. I am not giving you a card to utilize at all. Okay,
Yeah.
this ain't that. Let's be clear, OP.
Yeah, that's real because
Look,
you never
credit is
know.
so hard to come by, bro. It's like exclusive. You got
Mm-hmm.
this credit, it's exclusive. It's not everybody ain't got this, right?
Right.
And so and a lot of people do, but everybody ain't got it.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't get no card.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's real though. That's real because it's that and that's a big reason why. Because I know, like for example, for me, my mom, she had me as an authorized user, and I had a card, but like I basically never use it. I only use it for gas here and there, maybe like once or twice a month, like small stuff. And it obviously a couple years down the road, my credit score was well over 750. It was good. It was great, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that you can. I guess you can have the option to give that authorized user a card or not. So that's
No,
good to know.
they give you a card.
Oh, they
You
give
don't
you a
give
card.
it to them.
Oh, you
You
just don't get. That's smart.
just keep it. Just keep the
Yeah,
card in your possession, put it in a closet,
mhm,
in a box, in a
mhm.
safe deposit box, whatever. Just keep it there.
Gotcha.
They don't need that. Let them get the benefit of this credit card.
Hmm.
I mean, you can get your own credit card and practice that. See
Of
what I'm
course.
saying? But with this,
Hmm.
let's keep the main thing the main thing. You're getting tenured, however long this card's been in effect, you
Hmm.
get that right away. And you get the utilization. So if it's
Right.
5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 100 G's, whatever, you get that, you don't have to use it.
Hmm.
It just
Okay.
shows good on your report and the time and on time, overtime is what it's showing.
On time, overtime. I like that. I like that. So that's good there because I think it's very important for everybody to know, but especially like for parents that want to help their kids, to springboard to their finances because they're young men, young women, 14, 15 years old. Um, slowly but surely in a couple of short years, going to embark into a whole new world, the real world, where at that point in time, your GPA doesn't really matter. Your real GPA in the world is your credit score, right? At least that's kind of how I always
I
saw it.
thought of it
So
like that, but yeah,
yeah,
like the GPA, like
yeah.
this is what's look, this is how people view you. This is how companies
Mhm.
view
Exactly. So that's huge there. So now I appreciate you sharing that, man. So to I guess kind of transition a little bit, I also want to touch a little bit on business credit as well. And I think what we need to do here, probably within the next maybe few weeks or so, we need to have like a almost like a presentation or a master class. We'll talk about that more at length here in a little bit. But to kind of transition to business credit, how how should people I guess let me ask it like this. How do new business owners and entrepreneurs, how do they establish their business credit? Like just day one, brand new, like I just opened up my LLC yesterday. Now what? What do I do to kind of get the ball rolling to get my business credit up?
Great question, OP. So this is probably one of the most important things I've ever done in my life. I really appreciate it. First and foremost, if it's a LLC, that's what they call. What do they call it? LLC. They call it. Hmm,
Limited liability
it's called articles of formation. They give
articles.
you.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
You go
Yeah.
to the SOS or the Secretary of State,
Hmm.
and I only know about Texas. I hear you
Right.
could, but in the
Hmm.
state of Texas, go to the SOS Secretary of State website, set your LLC up, when you set up an LLC, they give you this form, and about 30 days afterwards, it's called articles of formation. If it was a corporation, which State Farm, they want you to set up a corporation, then you have to do articles of incorporation. But you take that, you go to a bank, and you open up a business bank account. That is very, very, very important. Scaling it back a little bit, you're gonna have to have an EIN. I don't know if you have to have the EIN first, or if you have to have business set up first. Whichever one happens, I can't remember off the top of my head, but however it works, you need both of them to set up the bank account.
Right.
And for the EIN purposes, you can never get it on the weekend. You got to apply Monday through Friday. I think, I don't know, early in the morning to like, that's when you can get an EIN. You can't get it on the weekend because that's when everybody's free. They like, I'm about to start my business today. Let me open it up on the week. No, you can't get an EIN on the weekend.
Gotcha.
But, that's the first thing, right? Let's get this bank account going. Let's put some funds in this bank account. Let's fund this thing and let the bank see that, hey, there's some money coming into it, to this business, because it's highly, highly important. First and foremost, you have to establish that, right? Navy Federal is a real good bank to start with, okay? Hint, hint, Navy Federal. All right. After you get that done, then you're gonna have to go and get these things called net 30s. Net 30s are just they're basically small department store cards that give you, I don't know, 500, 1,000, 10,000 small cards, but they give that to you, and it helps you build credit, because you gotta understand, you're a new formation, your new corporation, your new LLC. You don't have any standing. Ain't nobody standing behind you saying that you can pay your stuff on time. So you're gonna have to establish something. So these net 30s, they will allow you to PG it, which is called personal guarantor it. That means you use your personal credit as leverage to go and speak on behalf of your business as an authorized user. And so that's why you need personal credit, to leverage yourself to the business credit. But anyways, you sign off for those net 30s. I think you need approximately 6 to 7.
6 to 7. So sorry to cut you off. So 6 to 7 net 30 like cards?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. And to be honest, that could be a ding on like your personal credit, because you're doing a lot of inquiries and stuff like that. However, it's for the good of great. Trust.
Right.
Once you get your personal credit to a certain way, and then you get your net 30s and you get those popping, then you can walk into a Navy Federal and ask for 100 G's, and they'll give it to you. You know what I mean? Like they will give it to you, and they'll give it to you in two forms: a credit card. They'll give it to you in a line of credit. So those two completely different things. We could talk about at a later time, but those are highly, highly important. And this is how you're going to get capital right away to fund your business, because we all want growth. Why do we have a business? When we sit down and formulate a business plan, we're doing so to grow it, to make more money than the day before, than a week before, than a year before, whatever that looks like. We want to make more money. Well, capital helps us scale that. That means if I only had $1,000 to move my business, but now I have $100,000 to move my business, how well can my business do if I responsibly allocate funds to the right part of the business, the marketing, the structure, whatever, visibility. We want to put our business out there. In order to do so, it's best to do it with funding, and this is how you get it.
Right, got you. Because I understand for those that are looking. So here we are in a new year, 2023. People are looking to get out of their job, start their own business or side hustle or whatever the case may be, and it's hard to do it off of just cash alone or money that you just have saved. Credit is obviously what's going to help you in a much faster and more efficient way, as opposed to just using cash. And to kind of take a step back here, so the order, like for me, for example, I use LegalZoom to set up my own LLC. Now, everyone can obviously go to either, like I said, the Secretary of State, if you're here in the state of Texas. I'm not sure how it works in other states either, or you can go to like a lawyer, for example, to kind of help you with that process. You choose whichever is the most convenient, whichever option makes the most sense to you. right? So you form that LLC. Maybe after 2 weeks or maybe 2 to 4 weeks or so, I want to say maybe somewhere around 30 days or so, you should get an EIN. And what your EIN is, long story short, is like your your business number, right? It's kind of like the best way for me to just simplify it here for the sake of time.
Mhm.
And with that EIN, that'll allow you to ultimately, apply for credit cards, and then you can actually start that process in terms of growing your business, expanding your business, and being able to just leverage credit as opposed to just using cash. So that's huge, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you for sharing that, man. Okay, great. So, so let me ask you this, also in the same vein, in terms of um, using business credit for business owners, entrepreneurs, people, anyone that's already established business credit, just starting to build up their own business credit. What would you say are some of the benefits of using what are some of the benefits of using your business credit as opposed to just using your personal credit, like as an entrepreneur or a business owner? What are some of the differences here?
Question right there. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that question. So let me make an example. Remember, earlier when I spoke of personal credit, when you utilize a lot of the credit that they give you, they
Hmm.
give you credit for it. They don't feel good. Like they gave me $1,000. I spent $1,000. Now they penalize me for utilizing that, right? The difference is on the business credit side of things, you use business credit, no penalty. So you can actually take these funds, fund your business, pay it back like you're supposed to. Remember, responsibility is the most key important thing. It's very key.
Of course.
You use their funds, which you use the bank's funds to fund the business. You can use all of it, 100%. Guess what? No penalty. Now the business runs, the business funds, the business does what it's supposed to do. You get returns on your business. You pay back your loan. Guess what? When you go back again, they're gonna double what they gave you the first time.
So hold up, because I want to make sure that I myself I'm digesting that, I'm hearing it correctly, and that for everyone that's listening, they're hearing it correctly as well.
You heard it right.
So so somebody so okay. So if we're talking about personal credit here, one of the factors is utilization for your credit score. If you use your card too much, then it'll be like a ding on your personal credit,
Yeah,
basically. But flip that over to the business side, you can use 100% of your limit, $1,000, $5,000, whatever that number may be, but there's no negative impact, no negative effects to your business score, your business credit.
not at all, OP. And another
Wow,
thing is, I mean, you're gonna have to pay interest, right?
of
On if
course.
you utilize 100% of it, you're gonna have to pay the interest, of course, yes.
Yeah, of course.
But your score, your business credit score is gonna remain the same. It's
Mhm,
no ding on you for utilizing it. That's
mhm.
why it's the GOAT. This is everything right here. This on this phone call right here, OP. I'm trying to tell you, if business owners knew this,
Man, okay, obviously this whole entire probably so far one of my most favorite episodes that I've done, one of my most favorite people that I know, honestly, because like you just had just an extreme wealth of knowledge, and the conversations that we have, you always drop a lot of gems on me. I always appreciate it, man. So in the same vein for business credit, I guess how does your so personal credit, you have a like your score can be 700, for example. But for business credit, does it work the same way? Like, how does your business credit score work?
it's completely different. And
Okay.
um, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know the exact calculation of it
Hmm.
because I don't. And
Yeah, of
that we can have Google, Yahoo, whatever, Bing,
course.
find it out, right?
Hmm.
But I can tell you that if you get to a certain point on this thing to where it's called there's companies out there like Duns and Bradstreet, and
Hmm.
Duns and Bradstreet are they the top of the top at what they do. They
Hmm.
have over And I don't want to put a number on it because I might be wrong with it, but they have everybody's business information. Everything about anyone's business is on Duns and Brads, right? First and foremost. But they have something called like a paydex score. And you get a couple of net 30s rolling in there, paying them on time, overtime, right? And then you might get you a nice little Navy Federal in there too. You know, Federal, I'm telling you, those guys. But you get in there like that, and then you get you something called a paydex score. It's about 80 paydex score. Now it can be higher, of course, but you get 80 and you can get any type of funding you want, period. You want $250,000, go get $250,000. You want $500,000, go get $500,000. And I follow one of these speakers. I think his name is Grant Cardone. Spoke of is you want to be in as much business credit debt as possible. You don't want to be using regular cash and stuff. If you have $250,000 in business credit debt now, next year you want to be in $500,000. You want to be in $1 million. You want to go and keep going, because when you go it and utilize it and it pay it back, they just gonna give you double what you had the first time. Because they're like, hey, this person was responsible. Now you take that, people like you and me, future State Farm agents, we're gonna take this and scale it. I need more team members. I need 35 team members type thing. I need offices. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So you know what I can utilize with $250,000, $500,000, $1 million? I'm just going to invest it in the team members, marketing, making sure you see me visibly everywhere. And you know what that do?
Right. It brings in more revenue. Brings in more revenue.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's highly important. But to answer your original question, yes, get you a paydex score of 80.
Okay.
That's it.
So
make sure you will pay it on time.
Yeah. So for the paydex score, it's so obviously like for personal credit, it's like from 300 to 850 or something like that. But for the business credit score, it's a paydex number, and that scale is.
I think it goes to 100.
Okay, so
we can
Google it to confirm.
I think it goes to 100. It might go, if it goes higher, don't
quote me on it. Yeah.
Don't quote me on it. Don't cash that yet. But if you get 80, of course you can get higher. But if you have 80, I'm telling you, you get $250,000. They don't give it to you. Hey, here's $250,000. Sure, thank you.
Wow, man. Listen, like I said, y'all, an extreme wealth of knowledge here. It's been a great episode. It's been a lot of gems dropped, and I believe that what we shared today can truly be impactful, but also just like life-changing information. Because like I said, credit is one of those things where some people, they see it as like it's taboo, but once you get a pretty good understanding of it in terms of how it works and how you can utilize it and leverage it for your personal or even for your business, for those that want to be business owners or entrepreneurs, man, it changes your life in a major way. And we know several people that are obviously doing it themselves, and we're seeing them take off. It's a beautiful thing.
I'm telling you,
man, it's a beautiful thing. So my guy, Faron, I appreciate you for hopping on here with me. It's like I said, we had a great time. Before we wrap, I want to see, did you have any final closing remarks? Anything you want to leave people with before you go?
I could leave the people with some good juice. Definitely pay everything on time. That's let's do things the right way the first time. But if we have to take step backs, take a step back. It's okay. Gather yourself, move forward, but be responsible the second time. You're gonna get a second chance. God gonna bless you with a second chance. Don't ever forget that. As far as the funding, OP, man, drop my information on here for people to reach out if they have, questions or concerns. I'll make sure I get you those people number at Capital. For credit repair, they'll take care of them people, man, for sure.
Got you. My man, I appreciate you. Now I'll make sure I get that from you. I'll throw that also in the description of the video as well. So if anybody's looking for credit repair, need assistance with it, trying to build your credit for 2023 and moving forward for the years forward, then we'll have that information in the description. And if anyone has any more questions, concerns, hey, drop them in the comment section. Also, just reach out to me and also to Faron as well. I'll have your information in there too. And then, hey, we can just try to help as many people as we can. So this is life-changing stuff here.
OP, man, invite me back on the show, man. Invite me back another round. I'm super excited, thankful. Like, I'm so grateful to be here.
Mm-hmm.
My boy, you know,
Yes,
and
sir.
we're gonna be friends for life. But definitely bring me back here in the future. I'd be more than happy. I don't care where I'm at in the world. I link up with you. I get on. I just set a time and a date. I only ask one question. Make sure I got a haircut. If I got a haircut, I am on. And you can't say I ain't say that to you when you ask me to do it.
You did.
Let me get a haircut and I'm on there.
My God, I appreciate you. That's a fact. Look, I make sure I get you on camera. Make sure you looking nice, bro.
Yes.
Catch you the right time, my brother. I appreciate you, man. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to talk to you as always, man. It's always good just getting to talk to you in general. Just good to hear from you. But yeah, now until next time, party people, y'all stay safe, and let's keep learning. Let's keep building.
All right, OP.
Yes, sir. Peace.